We don't show prep. So, so he had no idea.
I just barely make it in.
I'm sure you can tell, but we don't show.
I mean, let's put the cards down on the table here.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy. Ha ha. It's a 6-Rig Kane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Vision, DJ, break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real put alive from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the 6-Rig champs. It's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards, a hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad. The 6-Rig Kane show. The 6-Rig Kane show. The 6 Rings Kane show. You know.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the 6 Rings Kane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
Let's go, Canes. It's about that time. What's up, fellas? How you guys doing?
It's all right. Yeah. Danny still don't have his fan on, but that's okay.
Oh, it's rainy. It's rainy.
I don't think you're ever gonna have it on. That's amazing.
One of these days I'll have it on just for you. One of these days.
Danny,
I'm not gonna tell you when, but
listen, Danny, my electricity, my bill here has gone up like almost triple while you're hanging out there with no fans. So I envy you right now, man. I really do.
Fair enough.
God, unbelievable out here. Got a really cool show for you. Listen, guys, we're less than 2 weeks away now, man.
Next Friday.
Not this Friday, but next Friday. Yes. It's go time.
11 days.
Yes, sir. So we're really excited about that. Obviously, football's back. College football's back. And I don't think anybody, loves college football more than us here on this show and some of the other shows. That if we mentioned them, we'd run out of time here. But all the Flow shows and the You Heards and Coop and everybody else. So it's college football time. We're all excited here. Locked On Canes, all of them, except we don't like to bring Donald on the show anymore because he ends our show early by himself sometimes, so we can't trust him anymore. No, I'm just kidding. Shout out to Donald, man.
That's no longer in the intro, so people don't know what we're talking about.
No, we'll give him a shot again. Soon.
Maybe he was trying to send a hint to us without saying it verbally, but who knows?
Right? Unbelievable, man. You guys ready to do some schedule breakdowns and some season predictions? We're keeping receipts now.
Yeah, unfortunately, that won't end well for me. A couple of shout people in the chat came today who seems to figure out, like, when I post the stream and immediately puts first in there, because this is from 1:55 this morning. And then our man Gus is hanging out live because the first one showed up during the show.
Yeah, it would have been scary. It would have been scary if Gus would have posted at 1:56 second first.
You're like, damn it, I missed it.
I would have called him like, yo, what the hell are you doing at 1:56 in the morning? Unbelievable, man. Like I said, man, we got a cool show today. Blue, I know that you know a little bit about this Miami of Ohio team. We've kind of spoken about them a little bit.
What do you want to pull the schedule up and stuff? Or?
Yeah, we'll get into specifics about each team. As the seasons progress, right? Next week, we're obviously going to break down Miami of Ohio all the way. But today, we kind of want to go through these schedules a little bit and kind of give your assessment on what you think it's going to be a win or a loss. We got obviously 4 of us here, so the chat, bear with us. Ask any questions that you have as well. We'll hopefully be able to answer them for you. But we got a lot of things going on. I know practices are obviously closed now, so you're not going to see anything because they're starting to prep for for the season. Fall camp has officially closed. It probably is what you would say at this point. So They pretty much have an idea as to who their two deep is going to be. Before we even get to the schedule though, because I want to ask all three of you this question: are you expecting? And we'll start off with you, Blue. Are you expecting any surprises in that two deep at any position?
I kind of cheated because I heard it. Did you hear Mario's press conference?
I heard a little bit of it, but yeah, go ahead, man. You can talk about that press conference a little bit.
He kind of hinted that Bain is edging himself up, to the point where.
That's not a shocker, though, right?
No, but I mean, it's still. I mean, it's one of those guys. Like I said from the beginning, I said he's 3 and see ya. I mean, that's how it's going to be.
Oh yeah.
You know what? All the running. You see, I want to see what's going to happen out of the running backs because our boy had another great game the other night. The other day, 94 yards. He praised Chaney, who he said had a great camp. And we know that and then Chris Johnson got a chance to finally do something. But the running game is going to be kind of a surprise. I would say right off the bat that it would probably, you're going in there with a kid who was, that hasn't hurt himself any. But I think everybody's pushing at him. So,
right.
I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that would be a surprise.
I think that I don't know if it's so much of a surprise, but more of a pleasant surprise. I think you're going to see is Damari Brown is pushing for that starting position. I saw that. I'd be a little surprised. He's a freshman, but I think we all agreed that him coming here, he was. If you look at him, he was probably the most ready defensive back.
Physically ready too. That's
ready in this last recruiting class, even more than the guy that's over in Colorado right now, which we won't mention his name. But he looked like the kid that could come in and potentially, if he can pick up the defense and understand his assignments and all that, and he's doing it. Damari Brown is doing it right now, and so that'd be pretty cool to watch him and his brother be the starting backs for the team. That would be good. But
Darryl Port had a really nice.
He did. So did Jadaeus Richard. Jaden Davis at the slot was a pleasant surprise as well. So
I like
that I like that.
My guy Takori Couch, who I've been defending for 3 years. It feels like now, but
he's like your Carlos Perez, dude. Unbelievable, man.
He's like the opposite. He's my Ariel Garcia. He actually plays a little bit.
But, he did bulk up a little bit, but and again, we saw a scrimmage. We saw him get beat a couple times, but he's still kind of bulked up. He's going to get a lot of playing time. So I think that cornerback position is going to be a surprise. What do you think, Vish?
Well, Blue's points on the running backs. Point on the running backs is interesting because. We're still not sure the nature of the run game, how many carries are going to be in the style of running plays, and we're loaded. It's got to be our deepest position. Yeah. And it's like, okay, how do we use that? And that's going to be interesting to see because you feel like all those guys Blue mentioned need carries. And, there's not going to be that many carries to go around. So it'll be interesting to see how Shannon Dawson kind of works through that and make sure – he's probably going to have packages for several of them and how we get the ball in the right people's hands. Because I think as much as we're talking about Chaney can catch. But as we talk about kind of depth chart and, who's on the two deep, you get to 4 deep at running back, I want that guy to get some carries.
Yeah.
So, to me, that's just an interesting subplot. It's not just who's getting snaps or who's listed on the depth chart, but how they use them. Because that, you wish we had that talent at some other positions where you play 5 and 6 guys. Running back, there's kind of one on the field at a time, and it's it's hard to spread that love around.
I'll tell you what, though, I think from an offensive perspective, I think the running game is a little ahead of the passing game right now. I think it's just going to take them a few quarters to get it going. I'm not saying that they're not going to look good, but I don't think they're going to be as explosive or as schemed up or crazy as you would probably see a Shannon Dawson passing attack be initially right off the bat. I think it's going to take maybe a little bit, right? They're going to knock off some rust and get it going. But I think the running game right now Shannon Dawson, from everything that I've read and spoken to certain people about, he's running a little bit of a different offense, right? He's going to run the ball. He's changed a lot of his running schemes, and it's more of a hybrid than a just straight run and gun.
Because it's a strength, like Vish said. So you can't not slant yourself towards that.
But what does that tell you, Blue, about Coach Dawson? He's got a clue. He's like, I'm going to play.
He's an open mind guy that's going to go. But the whole thing too is, I think Mario singled out Rivers as being one of the linemen. He says he could play all 5 positions. Right. And he says, I'll tell you what, he never complains. I like to hear that out of a coach. And I'll tell you the other guy that he mentioned, and that's why you talk about depth chart, and we kind of pretty much had it, Corey Flagg. He said Corey Flagg is our most reliable tackler. See, and he has been the last 2 years. So there's another kid you're not going to just place on the bench because he's not 6'3", 240. Right. So, I think Mario's a results guy. You see, and that's what you got to like about him. And he even said that if some freshmen like Bain and guys like that are producing, he says, better believe that they're going to be in there. And that's, I just think that the offensive line got more of the praise because of the addition of Cohen and Lee. But I think that in a position like that, and I think Vish has mentioned it many times about putting depth up front on the offensive line. And that's the most important thing, because you could get all the Lees and those type of guys, but if somebody gets hurt, what happens? You know, so you got to be pretty, deep, around there. We know, it's a given. I think everybody knows by now, it's no secret that if Tyler Van Dyke goes down, it's going to be a struggle.
Yeah.
And you're going to see a big running offense.
Yeah, that you will.
Bring back the wish.
He'll be running the wish
at that point.
That's fine.
Hey man, you get Jakari in there, you can do it.
Yeah.
But to close off this point a little bit, the thing, it's so much easier to win football games. You can run the football successfully. Yep. It's much less error prone. It wears the other team out, and we've seen that happen against us quite a bit, where we just can't get off the field, can't stop the running game. And so I don't, with the stable of running backs we have, you got to run the football. I mean, I don't think there's any other way this team's going to be successful. It also protects Van Dyke from getting injured,
right?
By not taking as many hits and not allowing them to kind of just pass rush. Yep. So, and I wouldn't be surprised if, we're talking about this not being, the way Shannon Dawson ran his offense in the past. I mean, let's be real in terms of where he was in the hiring pecking order here at offensive coordinator, and whether or not there were some demands placed on him as part of a job offer. Because Mario runs the football, that's his thing, and I don't think he's hiring someone who's going to come in and like run and gun it and just like throw it all over the place and not run the football. So whether or not Dawson, that's his ideal or not, that's going to be what he's going to do, because Mario won't hire someone that's not going to do that.
And so, I think
we're going to run the ball and probably run it a lot.
Go ahead,
DJ.
I was going to say, I think when you have, the stable of running backs who can kind of wear down the defense, by the third and fourth quarter, it opens up plays downfield for the receivers as well. I mean, there's the fatigue element from the opposing defense perspective that, this group of running backs can also bring. And I don't think we necessarily had that at times last year. So, I mean, I think this running game will do more than just run the football, but it will also allow other things to open up on the field as well.
I just think it's the way that they're going to run the football, the schemes that they're going to put together is going to be pretty. I think it's going to be more impressive, and it's going to be a surprise to a lot of people that have seen Coach Dawson, Shannon Dawson offense before. So I'm excited about that. It's going to be interesting, and we'll get to see it in 11 days. So. At the end of the day, we can all be excited about everything, and we're gonna get to it now. But it's about how I got to see it on the field before I start drinking a lot of the Kool-Aid. So, but without further ado, game one is, like as I mentioned, 11 days away against Miami of Ohio, the Red Hawks, and we've got a little bit of a schedule breakdown here. They do play next Friday at 7 p.m. Myself, Blue, and Vish will be at this game. And look, guys, as we've mentioned ad nauseum, a lot of people have talked about it. Miami of Ohio returns, their whole entire defense. right? They bring back some older guys on defense. I know one of their edge guys is a stud. He's a really good player. And then they've got a veteran quarterback who's been there for a while. He was hurt last year, but they're a solid team. What I like about this matchup is that it's not, no disrespect to Bethune-Cookman, but this is a much better team than a Bethune-Cookman. So you're going to be able to – they're going to have to, run some stuff. Yeah, I know we're going to look at Bethune-Cookman in a second, but they're going to have to really play a little bit tougher, right? I still think that they're much better than Miami, Ohio, and I still think that they're going to beat them, quite convincingly. But it's a little bit different because they might be in it for a quarter and a half or two, and you might have to fight and struggle a little bit and then kind of bust it open. So. We'll start off with that. I'll start off first, and then we'll do like a snake. So for Miami of Ohio, you're on mute, Fish. I don't know unless you're trying to talk. Were you trying to say something?
I was just saying let me open this up, but it's open now, so
cool.
Let's keep it moving.
Here we go. So I'm gonna go with. I mean, this isn't easy for me. This is a W. It's a win for me. We don't have to do scores or anything like that, but. If you want to, it's fine. I don't care. But Vish, go ahead. What do you got for this one?
This is a win and an easy one.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Not competitive game.
Blue, what do you got?
Yeah, Miami, Ohio is gonna. I just dread.
Okay, but let me not put win in yet.
No, it's a W, but I just dread like Miami makes some mistakes and gets down 7-0 and. I just want
that's when you're going to see if they can punch back, right? If they can get punched and punch back. And
yeah, because if you remember last year, and I'm not saying this is the same team, but when they unraveled against Middle Tennessee State, even against Southern Miss, I don't want to be looking at you, Jazz, up in the press box and say, "Oh no, not again," So, but I agree. I mean, on the surface, they should. In the 42-17 category, maybe. That's a lot of points, 42 against them.
It is. It's not a terrible
I don't think they'll be able to stop Miami's running game.
No, that's that again.
And again, that's what we didn't have last year. And you saw like that Middle Tennessee game, Blue, you mentioned, got to stop on the first possession, back-to-back interceptions, including a pick six, I believe. And all of a sudden you're in a hole because you're forcing the pass. And it's just like, no, if you can turn around and hand the ball off, the game comes easy.
Yep.
And I think that's why this year's team will be a little bit less susceptible to losing to teams like Middle Tennessee or, in this case, Miami, Ohio.
What do you got, DJ?
Win. I think it's going to be a nice tune-up game. I think they should be able to win relatively convincingly, but I don't think it's going to be a complete blowout.
All right, so this one is, we get right to it. Out of the first four games, we got one tough one, right? And it's the Texas A&M game. It's week 2. It's a Saturday 3:30 game at home, which is nice. Now, on the surface, this is going to be a much tougher game. They are an improved team, just like we are. They are transfer portal heavy as well, and they've turned around their roster. Right, they've turned over their roster considerably, and they've got a decent quarterback. They obviously have a lot of blue chippers as well. But the fact of the matter is, my biggest concern here is not is pinned down with the score with the
went right in.
Yeah, he did.
Went out on versus MU.
My biggest concern here is not necessarily the first 11 on 11. It's the depth, and Texas. A lot of people think that Texas A&M might have the edge here at when it comes to depth wise. Coaching, we all know Jimbo, as much as we don't like to say it, pretty decent coach, right? Pretty decent head coach. He's won in the past, so, and he knows how to win. He's had some issues at Texas A&M, but again, they've done a hell of a job recruiting, and they've got some really, really, really talented players over there on that roster. So this one's tough. I'm going to start with DJ. What do you think is going to go down here in Texas A&M, man?
Loss. I don't think it's going to be obviously as easy as Miami of Ohio, but I honestly don't have a good feeling about this one. I really don't.
Yeah. No, I get it, man. I totally get it. I can't. Oh, there you go. All right, I was going to say I can't see the screen.
Yeah, no, it dropped the share. There's something going on with StreamYard. I had to click it 100 times to get to connect to YouTube also.
Blue, what do you got on this one?
I mean, the whole thing too is that I think it depends how they play in the opener. Obviously, if they come out of there with a lot of confidence that they can run the ball and their receivers are clicking and they're getting some really good blocking, then obviously they'll come into that game and win. DJ's got a point. You don't feel great about the game, but at the second, on the other hand, they're at home. It's going to be a good crowd to make up for who didn't come in the opener, and or who won't be there for the third game.
Yeah, right.
And so I think it's Miami's going to have a little crowd support. I think you're looking at maybe 50,000,
Nice.
and which at most places is an empty stadium.
Yeah, no kidding.
But geez, I'd take that in a heartbeat. They've got a shot, but they. I wish I could sit there and tell you, and we will. After the first game when we're breaking down Miami of Ohio and look at Texas A&M, I may change, but I think Miami could come out with a win here.
Nice, a win by Blue,
You
baby.
think
I
they'll win?
like it.
Yeah.
Viz, what do you got, man?
All right, so
Excuse me.
He hates Texas A&M.
I mean,
Hometown team, dude.
hey, hold on! Don't paint me with that brush. I couldn't help where I was born, but I can help where I'm from, and that is Miami. Yeah, this one's a little personal for me. I don't necessarily hate them, but I can't lose to this team again.
I like it.
There's too many connections to that place, but also, I mean, I know there's both teams are radically different. To me, last year there was no question who the better team was, even though we lost. And to me, they need to improve more than we do to win this game. It's going to be in Miami this time. 3:30 is pretty early. They're going to get that humidity right up in the face. It's going to be sweltering in there with that roof holding the humidity in. And I think we're tougher than them, and I think we're going to win. I think they are very close to collapsing. Like, we're still at the beginning of this. Like, the thing is, we're comparing two teams that very similarly underachieved last year, overhauled their team, and had to make a lot of progress in that. And it's kind of question marks. Like, they brought in a lot of new people. One of them is in year 2. Jimbo's been there for a while now, and that culture is broken from the inside there. He's going to fail there ultimately. They paid him too much money. They're going to have to pay him to go away. This is going to be a win by double digits.
Wow.
Not because I think we're that good. I think A&M sucks.
Wow.
And I think they're the most overrated team. They've not been good since he's been there and just been fluffing them up like, oh, Jimbo's going to fix this. Jimbo was bad his last few years in Tallahassee too, and Norvell had to clean up that mess and got blamed for a lot of it after Taggart too.
Thank you for your honest assessment, Vish. I agree. I don't like Jimbo at all.
I think he was good initially in Florida State. I think he lost it a while back.
He also had a stacked team, if you remember some of those.
Yeah,
teams.
but I mean, he had a lot. They were not good when he took over for Bobby Baunita. So full credit to him for kind of building that into a winner that won a championship. But it started to slip before he left, and he kind of half got out of Dodge too. And has not been good at A&M, and I just don't think they're very good.
Who do they open up against?
Yeah, that's what I want to know, because I was almost at the point.
Come on,
where
DJ, you're quick.
I was almost at the point with DJ where I was like, they're gonna get punched. New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so not a huge.
Actually, it was New Mexico State. It went to the bowl, so
yeah.
I would have more hope.
Here's ultimately where it kind of changed my mind. I think that they're going to take some time to get going as well, and I don't know if they're going to. I think they're going to be a better team this year than they were last year. Yes, and I think that, but I also think that they're going to take some time to get going. That New Mexico game, they might blow them out, and so they might really kind of, let their guard down a little bit. Yeah, exactly, and I think that's where Miami is trying to form that Mario Cristobal identity, right? Where they're tough, no nonsense. They're going to go after, go after these guys. And I think ultimately, at the end of the day, what's going to make the difference is our defense. I think our defense is really damn good. And I think that we're going to put so much pressure on them. We're going to make them cause some turnovers. That's the biggest thing for me. And I think that this is where Miami takes the W and wins a close one, man. I'm going to go like 27-24, something like that, I think they win this game. I know it's crazy, but it is what it is. We can all count W's for Bethune-Cookman, right? I don't think we need to kind of.
I want a detailed breakdown on the third string quarterback on their team who will be playing by the second quarter. Let's just slot in. I'll slot in the W's. We can move on to Temple.
Move on
Thursday
to the
night, man.
From the Bethune-Cookman Fighting Ed Reeds. Come on.
I will say it is quite strange that is a primetime Thursday night kickoff for Bethune-Cookman. It is.
I don't know if it's a prime time. It's on like
it's on ACC Network. I think. No,
it's on the shopping channel.
I'm pretty sure it's on ACC Network.
So that means nobody's going to be able to see it anyway.
Yeah, well, we will.
Yeah,
we'll be there.
Yeah, no, it's ACC Network 7:30. No, it's their ACC Thursday night game, and they announced that game time in network coverage.
That's crazy.
In 2 weeks, where Ed Reed was the coach there.
Oh, they did.
So they had a whole thing to play that angle up, and then he's not there, and they're just going to show Bethune-Cookman Miami on TV anyway now because they're committed to it. So, yeah, no, that was why they had done. That's why the game was on Thursday. They had planned. I guess I still don't know what to think. I'm not a TV executive, obviously, but like. Did you really think people are going to tune in because Ed Reed's on the opposing sideline? Like I don't know what the thinking was there, but it obviously blew up in their face.
All right, here we go. Temple,
the school of Al Golden,
the Fighting Al Goldens. Yeah, I think that this one. Look, I got the shout out to Flo because I heard it on the show, but Temple was 106. In total offense last year and 96 in total defense. That team is bad. Miami wins big here against Temple, at Temple. I know it's away, which is kind of weird also. Miami wins big at Temple. That's it. What do you got, Vish?
Yeah, no, I agree. This is a game I'll also be at. Yeah, no, this is going to be an easy win. Again, like you said, they're not good. And this is actually a good, soft first road game. You get used to traveling, going to play somewhere, but the team you're playing against actually isn't good. This should be a good warm-up game because the next trip is significantly tougher at North Carolina. So you want to kind of get someone that used to like not playing in your home stadium out of the way. And this is a good way to do that.
What do you got, Blue?
I think it's a good game for two reasons. You get to get some Northeast kids there. Kids that maybe from Maryland, Jersey, Philly, that area, up in that area. And plus, get to eat Tony Luke's cheesesteak. So, I mean, there's I don't know. It's a good trip for the kids, at least for the day. But they don't really ever get to see much, though. They get there on a Friday, and then they're gone by Saturday night. So, yep. I'm sure that But here's the thing too. I don't care who they play. I mean, there's a focus that he's not going to let them take any game.
Yeah. By the way, starting quarterback for Temple, Kurt Warner's son.
Oh yeah, that's right. He is.
Kurt Warner's son, but B.J. Warner or something like that.
I thought it was someone that mattered. I thought you were going to be like something like it's Nicozy Terry or something.
Hall of Fame quarterback.
The son of a Hall of Fame quarterback. Yeah. Remember when we had Vinny's son on the roster? What are we talking about here, Jazz? Come on, man.
Poor guy. He wasn't the starter. At least Kurt Warner's kid is a starter.
Yeah, I bet you Vinny's kid could have started at Temple.
He didn't even start at Texas Tech.
A starter's a starter.
Yeah,
come on, though.
Texas Tech is much better than Temple. What are we talking about?
Hey, come on. You say you started a quarterback in college football?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I'm Indian, man. I can't do sports. What are we talking about here?
That is also true. All right, so
I'm going to keep the stats. I'm your man, but
you need to cut that one.
I'm going to go win at Temple. Nice warm-up game before the ACC slate begins because that's going to be a little bit messy, I think.
All right. Go back around.
Messy as in soccer player messy or just
what a run he's on. Like
everything's coming
that's
up
so
messy.
much fun to watch. So much fun to watch. And I don't even really like soccer that much.
He's a bear, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
What do you got on Georgia Tech? First ACC game. We hit the gauntlet though, because after Temple we've got a bye, which is weird as hell to begin with. The ACC's kind of screwed us on that. And then we go straight into ACC play, 8 games in a row, starting off with Georgia Tech at home. What do you got? What do you got, DJ?
I got another win, but it's gonna be, I feel like, a very good game. Another nice game that should be a challenge before the rest of the ACC slate.
Yeah. Blue, what do you got on Georgia Tech, a team that they've got some turnover as well. They've got a new quarterback, which was a kid that was actually the starting quarterback for Texas A&M last year.
That's right.
Miami. He kind of stinks, but he's there now. He's a starting quarterback at Georgia Tech. What do you think?
That revenge game against Miami.
Yeah.
The Jer Curry revenge game.
Oh, my God, that's right.
How did that guy beat us last year?
The only time we played well the entire year. I was at that game too. That was the only enjoyable game I watched the whole year. Where it's like, wow, we're playing well. We look like a football team. That Georgia Tech game was the only time that happened.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why Miami shouldn't control. But that's the thing, guys. I mean, we're sitting here now at August 21st. But after each game, you may feel differently about these teams after watching them. And let's say they blow Texas A&M away, and then you go, oh, don't kill Georgia Tech, that type of thing. Right now, we're like gun shy because of all the past stuff. And, last year, I know it's not the same team, but have we really changed the entire culture? We haven't seen it. You may have in practice and with coaching staff, but has it added up to a win yet? That's what I'm saying. Once we get
on the field.
Yeah, once we get that first W, I'm sure I'm going to loosen up a little bit and say, oh, yeah, get a little cocky. But I just don't want to sit there like you and I last year and all of a sudden in that Middle Tennessee State game and you go, oh, my God, is this really happening? And, yeah, I know the average person will say, oh, no, it's never going to happen against Miami, Ohio. But Miami, Ohio would have shut Middle Tennessee out like 40-0 last year. Yeah. So we'll see.
You got to win there, right? You got to win against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I got to win. All this stuff is apprehensive, though, until.
Sure. Well, that's why we're doing it before, so we can.
Yeah, no, I understand.
On later.
It wasn't it Vish last year at this time predicted 11 wins, so you see anything could happen.
Wow.
I just take strays constantly here. This is my job. Yeah, this is gonna be a win. They're going through a transition, new coach. They're not gonna be ready to win this game. I also like that we have a bye week coming into it, so it's kind of like a reset. And I think we'll come in with some good energy coming out of that for the start of ACC play. So I think this will be
well, we're off to a 4-1 start with that week off, and then North Carolina and Clemson back to back.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Jess, you're up to bat.
Yeah, it's a win for me. I think that we're gonna put a lot of pressure on that quarterback. We're gonna make him make a lot of mistakes and win pretty easily. Here's where it starts to get tough.
I mean, this is crazy how backload our schedule is, because all of a sudden, after those first 5 games, like the next ones are just like murderer's row here. This
is what I will say. Okay, I know everybody knows Drake May. He's quote unquote one of the best quarterbacks in the country. He's gonna be a first rounder. This, that, and the other. Their defense is pretty good. They've got some guys, on that line that are solid. All that. Yeah, they're not bad. It's going to be a good team. They're a ranked North Carolina team. They've got a tough schedule before they face us. Okay, a lot tougher than we do in the front end. So they could very well have a couple losses, if not one or two losses going into Miami as well. This is going to be a tough team to face. However, here's where I think we stack up well against North Carolina, where we didn't last year. And I think that's our defensive line against their offensive line. I think their offensive line, they've lost a couple of guys. May doesn't have Josh Downs and some of those guys at wide receiver anymore either. He doesn't have that two-headed monster that Sam Howell had a couple years ago. So it's a little bit of a different team, a well-coached team, because Mac Brown does a hell of a job with his teams. However, I know the biggest thing is everybody's scared. With North Carolina, we always seem to get our ass kicked by them somehow. They've quote unquote got our number. I think this is a payback game for Miami, And I think Miami goes into North Carolina and puts a hurting on them and kicks their ass.
Wow,
I think
hurting, an ass kicking.
Yeah, and I think they beat the daylights out of North Carolina. I think it's a double-digit win for Miami in North Carolina.
Jeez, man, you didn't just go for the win. You went for the throw here.
Yep, I'm doing it. Screw it. What do you got, Vish? Come on. Are you going with the L? Is this the first L for Miami this year?
Oh man. We're gonna be at this game too. This is another Sixer and Canes meetup on the road here. This one's. I think this will be close. I don't think it's gonna be a beatdown. I do think they'll probably be able to move the ball better on us. I like our corners, but I do think they have a good quarterback. Even though Jazz thinks he sucks, apparently.
I think
I'm messing with you. I
think his O line is bad. I think we're going to be able to get to him. That's the thing for me.
Yeah, and that's Gainer in his 15th year, still playing.
Is he still there?
Yeah.
Doesn't he have a grandson at this point?
Yeah.
Wait, Gainer is still there?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Canes by 20.
Yeah, there we go.
You can't upgrade your center position. Forget this. All right, there we go.
What do you got, Blue? You got a W or
yeah, I'm going to give them their first loss. I think they're going to lose by a field goal in the fourth quarter. They're going to play them tough all the way, but I think it's going to. I don't think Miami.
Don't do that to me, man. I'm having nightmares. I was at the 4th and 15 game where Manny couldn't call it correct defense, and I'm having nightmares. I don't want to walk out of that stadium after another one of those, man.
I just, it's hard to fathom that Miami will go 6-0. It really is. I know that the schedule kind of plays in their favor, but yeah, I think if they're going to lose, this will be the type of game that they could lose, especially with Clemson on the horizon.
What do you got, DJ?
This one's going to be a loss for me. I mean, I think this is going to be a tough game. I don't think this is going to be a blowout by any means. I mean, when you're facing Drake May, I don't care if you have a good, defensive line and you can get to him, he's still going to be able to make plays. I mean, this is no shot at Miami. Drake May is just pretty darn good. So I have this one as a loss.
All right. Straight down into Clemson. Now, obviously, either way, if you look at it, right, Miami with DJ, Miami will be 4-2, Blue 5-1. Me and you, Vish, are undefeated going into Clemson.
I'll take any of those.
I think DJ pretty much has us at worst case at this point.
He's kind of he's kind of gone like chalk per se, right? We're kind of going homerish a little bit. That's okay. That's fine. You never know.
I've done the homer route before, and it's always come back to bite me in the butt.
This is why we do it.
Yeah, but I feel like at this point, like, what's the worst that's going to happen to me? We're going to be 3 years from now, and Blue's going to say, "Remember that time Vish picked us to win 11 games?" So it doesn't matter. I might as well own it at this point.
Right. I mean, whatever. Who the hell cares?
If I'm the only one that'll remember it, you're lucky.
Here's the only thing that gives me hesitancy here is Cade Klubnik is obviously a new quarterback over there with Garrett Riley as the new offensive coordinator. Obviously, a hell of an offensive coordinator coming over from TCU. He's got Will Shipley. He's got some really good wide receivers. That defense is stacked with Jeremiah Trotter and the rest of that group there. They've got a loaded defense. They've got some decent guys at running back and at quarterback. Klubnik is good, but how good can he be? Their wide receivers are relatively unknown, but they've still got some players there as well. So still a really good Clemson team. DJ, what do you got playing against this team?
I have this one as another loss. I don't think it's going to be like last year. I think it's going to be a little bit closer, but I mean, Clemson is still Clemson, no matter who you put out there. I mean, just speaking as a football fan, Klubnik is one of my favorite quarterbacks. I mean, I watched him a lot in high school, so I feel like this one is just going to be another tough game, and it's going to go to Clemson.
Yep. Blue, what do you got?
I don't think Miami's going to stop them offensively. I think they could put 30. I don't care if it was played in Russia. They are who they are. It's going to be 35-14. I just think that Clemson's still at that 2 levels ahead of Miami.
Yeah.
Because you can't expect, I mean, this is taking the homer hat off. You just can't expect to go from 5-7 to knocking off Clemson. It's just, that would fairly be a pretty decent upset. I just think that Clemson is just too talented. They're just too talented. I mean, Miami won't stop Shipley. He'll go for 220, 225. It's because he's like that. I mean, I'm not going to belabor it. Hurricane fans are already seething at me, so they already hate DJ, so at least I could get in there with them.
Hey, join the club. I got jackets.
What are you talking about, Blue? Even when people are mad at you, they yell at me for not yelling at you on their behalf because they don't have the guts to say anything to Blue. You're Blue.
What do you got?
Yeah,
Rose?
this is a loss. I hope we play respectable. Honestly, like last year we didn't even have 100 yards. Like I know Blue's absolutely right. There's a massive gap here. We're probably a few years away from reaching their level if everything goes well for us. This is. I mean, they would have to have played like their worst game of the year for us to win this. So
yeah,
and we'd have to probably play our best. So I'm putting us down for a loss here.
You know, I think it's gonna be a tough game, man. I don't think that Clemson is as unbelievable, unbelievably talented as maybe a lot of people think, right? I still think they're very talented. I still think that, again, I'm going to go with a loss here for the Canes. But I think it's going to be a closer game. I think it's going to be respectable because I think that, again, that, I think Mario's going to instill a little bit of a, that toughness in them. And I think they're going to go down with a fight. So I think it's going to be a closer game, maybe like a 31-24 game, something like that, where they kind of keep it close and they kind of just hold it down in the fourth quarter. Clemson beats them. But I think that
I will say I think we have a better chance of winning this game in Blue or DJ scenario than in ours, Jazz. Because if we come in 6-0, like this is going to be a hype game. Game day will probably be there.
Yeah,
and like Clemson's not gonna, like we need them to come in overlooking us and like find themselves down like 10 points in the first quarter because they're not really locked in, and then having to crank it up. That's how we win this game. Like
I get it.
If it's actually if both of ours have us undefeated going in, this game is going to be like nuclear. I
still feel like the question mark, as good as Cade Klubnik was in high school, obviously he's the number one quarterback in the country. He showed some things last year towards the end of the year. I still got to see more. And I mean, he's got a great offensive coordinator, and I still think they win the game. I just don't know if it's, it's a tough game. It's a tough loss for Miami.
Yeah. And I think if we come out of this game saying, we gave them a game because last year we did not, I think that's kind of a good indicator that we've made progress here.
Absolutely.
Because the last two times we played them, the last three times, it's been over off the like you've watched like 3 plays of the game. You're like, well, this thing's over.
Yeah.
Do you want to do some prize picks before we move on to the next game? We totally forgot.
Real quick here. Let's give a shout out to our sponsor, prizepicks.com. This is real simple, guys. If you want to win some money, this is the way to go right here. It's your daily fantasy app, and it's made easy. That's what it's all about. So here's how it is: you log into prizepicks.com. Once you log in, you put the code 5 FIVE, and they will match your initial deposit up to $100. It's this simple. You choose anywhere between 2 to 5 players. Choose the over/under on their individual categories and win some money. You can mix and match leagues, players. You can go from the NBA to the NFL, Formula One, college football. You name it, you can do it all. NHL, it's all there. All you have to do, log in, prizepicks.com, code word 5, FIVE. They'll match your initial. They will match your initial deposit up to $100. Check them out at prizepicks.com. So going back into the second half of the schedule, you're still obviously in ACC play against a Virginia team that I just don't think is going to be great. So another home game after a tough loss to Clemson. I think Miami bounces back in a big way and puts a hurting on Virginia. So I got this one as a win. What do you got, Vish?
Yeah, this was another one I was at last year. That was the worst game of football ever played.
I remember that one.
What you don't remember is a touchdown because there weren't any.
Yeah.
So
6 field goals or something.
Oh man, it was something. It was something.
Can't
even
figure
the
out
winning,
what it was,
even the winning 2-point conversion was wide open guy in the end zone doesn't throw it, and Superman sometimes in the corner barely made it as Jake Garcia wins the game. So Yeah, this is quite a different, hopefully a different game this time. Hopefully we score and stuff. I think we'll win too. I do expect this to be probably one of those sleepy noon kickoffs and kind of a little bit of a stuck low energy game after playing North Carolina and Clemson. With NC State and Florida State on the road in the next two games, this one does feel like kind of a sleepy, ugly game. But I think we'll win because I just think Virginia's that bad. But I don't expect a good performance here, to be honest. I expect kind of a dead performance.
What do you got, Blue?
They're going to honor Deshaun Perry. I know that, being from Gulliver.
Oh, yeah,
which is nice touch, And so I was talking to his dad, but that's like 28-10.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. DJ, what do you got?
This is the type of game that Miami is going to need after, in theory, 2 straight losses to North Carolina and Clemson. I have them down as a win, and I believe that there will be touchdowns to be scored. So
nice. Going back around with you, DJ. Start with NC State, another very good team, good defense. They've got a new quarterback, Devin Leary, left to Kentucky. So, but they've got a strong defense and some decent skill players. What do you got here?
This one I was actually looking and thinking about. I have a loss. You know what? I have a loss in this one. It's at NC State. I still think, although, they're going to have a new quarterback, it's going to be a defensive game. Kind of like Clemson, in my opinion. I feel like Clemson defensive line is going to play a big role in that game, and I think North Carolina State is going to be the same way. I think Miami will keep it close, but I think the North Carolina State defense will prevail in this one.
What do you got, Blue?
31-14 NC State. Just a better team.
All of a sudden, Blue's just firing off scores.
Just a better team. But I said this I picked these all games when they came out in my head, and so far I haven't variated. So,
what do you got, Vish?
Yeah, I think it'll be close, but I think they're slightly better. Pick NC State. I think if this was in Miami, I'd probably pick Miami, but on the road, it's a tough one.
Yeah, I think Miami drops this one also. I think we all got losses on this, and I think that again, Miami just looks better in these losses, but it's still a loss. And I think they go into that one a little sleepy with after that Virginia game where I think they win easily. So I think that's a big one. Speaking of big ones, this is the big one right here. It's FSU. It's FSU week 11. And look, FSU, I think, has a lot of hype right now, ranked inside the top 10. They've got, Jordan Travis and Trey Benson. And then on defense, they've got a couple of guys like Jared Verse and somebody, and I think a safety that's really good also. So, they've got a good team. It's a good team. I think that they may not be as good as they were last year, and I think the hype train, I think LSU punches them in the first game, and it's just a matter of how they respond after that, because LSU is really damn good this year. So I think it's going to be a hell of a game. I expect FSU to be good, but I think Miami goes to Tallahassee and upsets FSU at home, at their house in Doak Campbell. I think Miami gets a W in this one. This is the upset. This is the game. This is the season changer. This is like the Cristobal regime changer when they beat FSU at Doak Campbell.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Recently we've had a lot more success in Tallahassee than in Miami against FSU. So it's not that far out there. If you look back at the last 20 years, we've won quite a few games in Tallahassee and really very few at home.
And I know this was before he developed and he is what he is now, but we have beat Jordan Travis before, so why not?
I mean, he was
Tallahassee.
He was embarrassing bad in that game.
He really was.
That there were several gifs making the rounds of his play in that game. And then
why not do it again in Tallahassee? So
yeah. I sort of agree with Jazz that FSU is completely overrated. I cannot believe the hype around that team when, coming into last year, like they were not like, are they going to get bowl eligible was the big question. And then all of a sudden they had one solid year. It wasn't even that. It wasn't like it was that great, and all of a sudden they're like hyped as the top 5 team. I don't see it, and this will be a tight game. And man, this is tough. Yeah, screw it. I'll go with Jazz on this one.
There we go.
Get the W in there.
And the W, kid.
And now time for Blue and DJ to pour cold water on us here. Go for it, Blue.
Blue, what do you got, man?
There you go. I went ahead and helped you out there. No.
I just don't see it.
All right, never mind then.
I know that you said there's just too many memories from last year how they gave up.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see it either.
Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, I know you guys may not think that they're good, but
I don't think that they're not good. I just think that they're not as good as the media and everybody is making them out to be. I think I think Jordan Travis.
Listen, I'm not going to fight you on it. I can understand it, but
I think Jordan Travis is a real deal. I think he's very good. I think without them, they're just as screwed as we are without TVD. And so if he has any issues, I think FSU is just as screwed.
It's also late in the season at this point, so we'll see what kind of injuries both teams have at this stage in the season.
I like when they play later on in the season. It feels like it means more. So
absolutely.
DJ, Louisville, what do you got?
I got a win, but I don't think it's going to be a convincing win. I still think it's going to be close. These last 2 games are honestly very, in my opinion, a little bit more friendly to Miami. So I think, let's see what I have. 5 wins so far? Let's see. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, you got 5 losses is what you got.
Well, I mean, I win for Louisville, so.
All right.
I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid like you like.
Jazz ate the profanity there.
I did. What do you got, Blue? What do you got?
I think Louisville wins at home. So,
okay.
I think it's a close.
Wait,
game.
This game's in Miami.
I mean at Miami. I meant.
Okay.
All right.
I just think that since Brahm's been back there, they've really. I mean, they went and look at their linebacking core, and they went and got the 3 kids from here. And
Brahm's a good coach.
He is a real good coach. I think that his offenses are really, really good. Listen, at the beginning of the year, or when I first saw the schedule, I said 7-5. So that's what I'm going to stick with.
All right. What do you got?
Are you forgetting this is for that Schnellenberger Cup? I mean, there are big stakes here. They can't just roll in here and take that very meaningful trophy from us.
Yeah.
Most
of those kids don't even know who the hell he is.
Yeah, true.
Their parents don't know who the hell he is at this point. But this is one where, I mean, I see my schedule here, and that's too many wins. And I think BC is terrible. And I could see like a hangover if you go into Tallahassee and win just yakking the next game. I'll go Blue on this one. Put a loss in here. We're not going 10-2. So I mean that's where I'm going in with the loss here.
I'm not going 10-2 either, so I'm obviously going with an L here too. I think it's a close game. I think it's a tough game, man. I think they go back and forth. And I think just Miami being Miami makes a mistake at the end of the game somewhere, and Louisville capitalizes. They win the game.
And they got good running game, and they got good quarterback play. The thing is, they got the 5-2 defense, which is a tough defense. That's why they let what's his name go to here.
It's going to be tough.
Cloyd. So, yeah.
And then lastly, BC. I think that's excuse me. I think we chalked that one up as a win.
But Miami's 1-7 in their last 8 trips to Chestnut Hill.
Yeah, but this BC team is bad. I mean, if they lose,
they said that 2 years ago when that runner went for 280 against.
Wait, that 1-7. Are you sure that 1-7?
I think they're 1-7. They were like that against Virginia at home, at Virginia.
I don't think we haven't played BC that often.
I think that's what I read today at Boston College.
Yeah, we stopped playing them.
You played them only 3 times in the last 9 years.
Right, but before
So it sends it back into the high 2000s where they didn't play very well. They were like Miami was like 7-5 and 6-4. But whatever, I thought I saw that stat. But whatever it is, I'll still take the win though. I'll defy it because I said 7-5 at the beginning.
DJ, you got to win here.
If Miami loses to Boston College, they have major issues. Win.
All right. So
DJ, you may not get out that front door.
I mean, you know what?
You got 2 7-5s and 2 9-3s.
So 8-4 it is. So
8-4 it is.
You can lock that down. Get on the Prize Picks. I don't think you can do this on Prize Picks, but lock it in at 8-4.
8-4, right? So
yeah, lock it in at 8-4 because none of us are ever right about anything. So that is the sweet spot. We made a nice little gap for y'all to bet in there. I don't know what the over/under on season win total is, but hopefully it's not 8 because that'll make it tough to bet. But.
Oh my God! Then Vegas has an idea. They know what they're doing. No, I think the over/under is 7. I think.
All right, there you go. Go over.
Yeah, take the over, baby. 7-5, 7-5, 9-3, and 9-3 for the homers over here.
It feels like too many wins still, man.
Still,
I'm not comfortable.
Yeah, whatever. That's fine. I don't care.
But like I said, each week everything will change. So
yeah, it could. It definitely could. I mean, this is before anybody's injured, before anybody loses a big game. A lot of things could change. College football is crazy, man.
If we're sitting later part of the season.
What's that?
If we're sitting there at 6-0 for Clemson, that's going to be a hell of an event. That's going to be an event game. Is what
it'll definitely be 2 ranked teams because Miami will be ranked if they're 6-0. I think that.
I think we'll be ranked we might even be ranked if we're 4-0. We're already getting votes.
Yeah,
if we beat A&M, and we'll probably be ranked.
Yeah, maybe after week 2 we're ranked in the top 25. Yeah, we'll see. This was fun. This is fun. Unrealistic myself here, but that's all right, man.
I mean, what you've done is by forcing me to write this down now, you've all I was dealing with before was Blue just mentioning something stupid I did last year. Now we've got it in writing. This isn't right, man.
Yeah, you're right. This isn't fair.
Yeah, this is no good.
Like I said, the way we could weasel out of this is every week we're going to change our opinion. So.
Yeah. Oh, it's different now. Texas A&M, look what they did there.
Yeah.
Well, it took me what 3 games to realize we weren't going.
Yeah.
11 wins because we already lost
59-0. You were like, oh, yeah, that's it. That was bad.
Yeah, that after a couple of weeks, we'd already picked up enough losses where 11 wasn't happening last year. So.
Yep.
I will say there's a lot of kind of, I would say, referencing back to the Middle Tennessee State game. If stuff like that is still happening this year, we have a lot bigger problems than anything you need to worry about in any single game. And my expectation is we don't see anything close to that this year. So the whole we could lose to Bethune-Cookman or whatever, people are sarcastically doing, that's not helpful. And we're not going to lose those games. We're not going to lose there's 3 games on our schedule that are obvious wins, in my opinion, and they're going to be comfortable wins regardless.
And I think the most important thing is also the culture of the team, the locker room, right? If if you do lose a game and you lose it, to someone maybe you weren't expected to lose it to. Let's say you lose to Virginia or whatever it is, right? Does this? It's a different roster, right? There's a lot of turnover on this roster. Does this team stick together? Do they continue to fight and do they continue to kind of keep that culture around? Does Mario lose the locker room? I think that all of those things are going to play a big factor in how successful this team is. At the end of the day, teams are going to get punched in the mouth. Alabama gets punched in the mouth. Georgia does, and they respond, right? And that's the biggest question mark for me is when these guys get punched, do they respond in a positive way and make something good out of it, whether it's a loss or not, or a win. I think it's about your reaction and how they respond to.
Good point. That's a good point.
Absolutely.
And if I see that there's been a change in that, then I think that they're going in the right direction. I think even if you win 8 games, 7 games is going to be tough, but even if you go 7-5, 8-4, and you see, it's all about how it's not about the result as much as how they perform,
arrive at that result.
how they arrived at that result. Exactly. There you go.
And
So-
you guys have said this before too. Like, there's a lot of players and coaches. Well, maybe not coaches, but just players in this program culture of not knowing how to win games. So I think even if you go 7-5, make it to a bowl game and then win the bowl game, that at least sets a standard of where we want to be at the bare minimum, and that's something to look at positively.
Yeah, this is not the early 2000s anymore, or the late 90s. So I think that mind frame by the fans mostly than anybody else needs to kind of, go by the wayside, because you can't think that way anymore. College football is different, and so, expecting, well, again, we're Miami Hurricanes fans, right? So expecting them to be a playoff team this year, or to be like, well, we got to go 11-1 or 10-2. I mean, it's Miami football, man. That's unacceptable. That's not how it works, man. That's not how it is. And you got to give this team a chance, and you got to give them time, because I think that Mario's building this team the right way, right? You see a lot of these teams that are successful for a year or two, and then they drop off significantly. It's because they're building it the wrong way, right? It's all through the transfer portal. So if you notice some of these teams, like for instance FSU, most of their team, they have 16 transfer portal guys that are starting, right? Like, where are the freshmen? Where are the guys that they're recruiting? Where is the development there, right? And so that's why I say that, this team could be good this year again. Then what happens when all those guys leave? Then you got a significant drop off, and then you stuck again, right? And so you don't want that. You want to be able to develop the guys that are coming in, that are young, that are going to be here potentially for 2 or 3 years, okay? And so if that's what it's going to take, and it's going to take a couple of years, then, as long as there's progression, as long as you see it on the field, then I'm okay, man. I'm okay. Let's win some bowl games. Let's get to some ACC championship games or Big Ten championship games. Well, it depends on where we're at, and let's compete. Let's look competitive. Let's win some good games, and let's continue to get there. And I think that in the next couple of years, you're going to see a completely different program.
Yeah, and I would say I get it's it's a little ridiculous at this point to ask people to be patient, given that the program hasn't been good for 2 decades.
Right.
Like in the kids we're recruiting now, they've never known a good Miami football team, and so I get that, but these guys have been here a year. It's not fair to saddle them with 20 years of baggage that they had nothing to do with, and we constantly are doing that. Well, we've heard this before. Okay, you're gonna hear the same stuff every time until it finally works.
Right.
So like just being like negative all the time does not contribute to anything. And again, these weren't this is not the coaching staff that was here they haven't been here for 20 years, right? They've been here for a year. Some of them for a few months, because a lot of them that were here last year are not here anymore. Yep. And so to Jazz's point, look, last year was probably the worst football team we've had, or certainly one of them, just in terms of not just the record, because we frankly had other teams that didn't qualify for bowl games, but the way they played was awful. Like the games were horrid to watch, and I think this year, as Jazz said, regardless of the record, look, we're not going to be in the playoffs. So it's not like it's not like stakes. Like, man, we blew that one game and now we missed out on the playoffs. We're not at that level. So it's really just, how often are we playing well? Do we look like we're headed in the right direction? Like, I'd like to play well in like 75% of the games. Like, we're like, okay, we look good today. Doesn't mean you're going to win all of them, because you can play well against Clemson. We're not winning that game anyway. But I think that's probably more important than like micro focusing on the schedule. It's just like, do we look like we're putting together a team that with better talent would win? And then that talent, like you said, just comes in, 2 years from now, 3 years from, as you stack those classes together. And that's unfortunately the patience we have to have now. So I think the mindset shift needs to happen, just in terms of everyone wants the team to immediately just start winning big. That's not how it works. That's not going to happen. It's going to be another year where we're going to lose some games. I mean, that's the reality of it. And it's just, overall, if we come out of this year with, hey, we have a football program now that's really headed in the right direction. You can kind of see the finish line there. That's the goal.
And it's also making sure, in my opinion, I think, making sure that players are developed properly for the future. Because I mean, we talked about this before on the show. I know Blue and I have talked about it. You, Jazz, and I have talked about it. Everybody on the show has talked about it. Developing for the future, making sure that there is a multi-year plan in place so that if player X gets injured, player Y can step in and kind of continue, solid play and continue to help build the program from within, because that hasn't happened in quite a while, and that's what the good programs do, quite frankly, if we want to get back to a winning level.
I'm with you guys.
Yeah, no, it sounds good.
So I give it over under on 5 snaps against Miami of Ohio before all of Kane's Twitter melts down. What do we got here?
Probably.
Under?
Yeah, the first 3 and out.
3-game warm-ups? we gonna get to kick off, or is it just gonna?
The first 3 and out was screwed. That's it. I mean, it's over.
Once the injury report's released before the game, then things will start melting down.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Advice for everyone: stay off Twitter.
You gotta love it.
Yeah.
You gotta love it. All right, fellas. Well, next Monday.
Holy crap! It's Miami of Ohio preview.
It's
Preview day next Monday.
Preview, baby. So make sure you keep locked to that one as we get ready for game week. It'll be Hurricanes game week, man. It's like Christmas.
Holy crap!
Woo! We're finally back.
It is time, man.
We are back. College football is back. Miami Hurricanes are back playing. Let me preface this by saying they're back playing football. They're not back. All right, relax.
I could definitely clip mid sentence there though.
Yeah, thanks. So we'll see you guys next Monday here at 8:30 again, and make sure you keep it locked on Twitter at 6Ring Canes, and it'll be fun, man. So keep it locked. We'll see you guys next Monday.
The 6Ring Cane Show. Yeah. The 6Ring Cane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rings Cane Show. You know.